I've got some work hacks, some shout outs, and was I recognized from YouTube? It's all coming at you tonight from the Hostler Shift. Let's get after it. Just starting out my night. Just got to San 3 for a 12-hour Hostler shift. Got the little handheld computer and the walkie-talkie, just getting all set up for the night. People have been asking me, you know, how fast do I respond to these things? You know, how do I get so many of these so often? I will say on these Hostler shifts, you need to be responding to those emails. I mean, I'd say if you get one and more than 10 minutes has passed, probably the shift has already been covered. I look back and looked at like the last 3 that I've got, or that I've actually been assigned the shift, and I've been responding to those emails in no more than like 2 minutes. Now, it does help that in my area, most of the time I see these sent out at night, and at night is usually when I'm working, so it's no trouble for me to see this. I know if you're asleep at night, you know, maybe set this to be like a VIP in your phone or something and wake you up if you're willing to take it that far. But it just so happens that these shifts that I see typically come overnight, and I'm already working at that time. But to answer the question, you know, how fast do you need to respond in order to get one of these shifts? I would say definitely within 10 minutes. I've never responded to one more than 10 minutes later and then actually got the shift. Another thing people have been asking is like, you know, how does the night break down? What does it look like? This is like, I just got here at 6. It's now 6:03. I mean, I'm set up, ready to work. You got to understand that we are working in the yard kind of on the schedule of the people inside. So, you know, when they take a break, there'll be breaks in the night. It's not like I'm here for 12 hours and going to drive for all 12 hours of it. I'll probably only drive for 4 of these 12 hours. It'll just come sporadically. So it'll be, you know, let's say they're unloading and loading a lot of trailers on the inside. That's when stuff will be moved, and it'll be busy for a couple hours, and then it'll just like shut down. I don't know if they go on break, if they have a lunch, if it's a shift change. I don't know. I've never been inside the building, but they'll, you know, I'll be busting it for 2 hours, and then there'll be like a 2 or 3, possibly 4-hour lull where maybe 1 or 2 things will get moved during that time, but most of the time I'm just sitting here parked. A little job hack I absolutely wanted to share with you. It kind of just came onto my radar recently, but it's been hiding in plain sight of me for the last year and a half, was Amazon Chime. Now, before I talked about this, I was like, man, is this something I'm allowed to talk about on the internet? And I started looking at, you know, it's like, where did I learn about Amazon Chime? They send it out to me as an owner-operator all the time. Like, you know, hey, we have office hours about this certain little subject on Amazon Chime. And it's like, that's the whole reason I ever downloaded it on my phone in the first place, was I was looking to, you know, kind of like learn more about their processes and all these processes. Amazon Chime is basically, it's a free app that it's kind of like how the internal communication of Amazon takes place. It's like how the employees get in touch with other employees and that type of stuff. Well, it's been loaded on my phone. I have an account to it this whole time. The other day, I get a shuttle hostler shift, and the guy sends it to me, and he puts on there, I think it was like supposed to be from like October 30th, or maybe it was like October 31st through, it was supposed to end on November 1st, but he ended up putting it was, rather than just scheduling it for one 12-hour shift, I've used a computer before, I know how easy this is to do. On the drop-down window, he selected like November when it should have been October. And it made it look like I had accepted a trailer hostler shift for an entire month. It was only supposed to be for 12 hours, but, you know, the wrong month was selected, and it got sent through to me. Now, I should have caught it when, you know, they'll typically stay on the phone with you saying, like, we'll stay on the phone, go ahead and accept it and assign a driver. It just so happened that I had hung up with this guy, and he's like, if I have any more, I'll send you a message through Amazon Chime. And he sent me a little message on Chime that just said hello. So I had his contact information. Again, at the time, didn't really think anything, didn't think that much of it. But then once I realized that this hostler shift was accidentally assigned to me for a month incorrectly, it should have just been a day, I kind of started having all these, you know, typical Amazon-like feelings of like, man, you know, there's my options where I could just show up and do the shift and do it for 12 hours, which I knew and he knew it was supposed to be. But then is that going to flag the system saying, oh, you know, you were supposed to be there for a month, you left 29 days early, and now that's going to lead to some sort of performance thing? Might not have happened, but it could happen. You know, other scenarios would have been like, you know, the chances of me showing up and doing the shift when I was supposed to and having it all work the way it was supposed to probably wasn't going to happen. It was something I wanted to get addressed. And so since I had this guy's information from Amazon Chime, from him sending me that little message of hi, I respond back to it. I just take a screenshot and I respond back to it saying like, hey, this accidentally got put in for a month. It should have been a day. Can this get corrected? And guess what? It did before the shift was ever even supposed to start. Now, might not sound like a big deal if you're not working for Amazon yet, if you plan to, but if you are working for Amazon, you know the steps that I just cut out. I mean, I could have requested trip support for it and, you know, before the shift was supposed to start and tried to have them do that. That would have been at least 10 minutes waiting to call back. And the chances of them calling me back, I think I realized this 2 or 3 days before the shift was supposed to start. Typically, they'll only call you back on a shift that is actively being taken care of right then. The chances of me getting a callback were slim, so didn't have to do that step. Was able to take care of it just like a text message, like it's 2023. Like I text them with a problem and say, hey, look, this got put in incorrectly, can you fix it? And it was fixed. So I mean, I was able to skip several steps there. And if you're working for Amazon, you know how difficult it is to get a callback on something like this, possibly lead to a performance dispute, the steps and the time that would have taken. And to avoid all of that with just a simple text message to somebody, I'd highly recommend downloading that Amazon Chime and be sure that you're signed up for it under the same email account that you're signed up for your Amazon Relay account, so that way people can, their employees can easily find you. That's how he was able to send me that message of when he said hi. He's like, oh, I see you're signed up for Amazon Chime. I'll send you a message right now. So definitely be sure those two emails or those emails are the same. I was recognized from YouTube are words that I thought would never come out of my mouth. I mean, just to say those words kind of make me feel like I'm living somebody else's life. I'll tell you what happened. I was doing a shuttle hostler shift the other day over at Sand 5, and these two guys stopped me. They jump out of the truck. They're, you know, smiles on their face. I'm smiling myself. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, you know, we follow your channel on YouTube. And you know, to tell this story, I kind of have to like back up a second and kind of tell you, you know, I'm definitely not doing this to try to get popular. Never really been a popular person. I'm fine with that. My circle's small, and I'm good with that. But you know, I kind of, one thing I love about trucking is when I'm in this truck driving, this is kind of like my fortress of solitude. It kind of gives me a place to kind of think about stuff and just, you know, I probably get most of my good work just sitting here in this truck done just thinking about stuff. And it's like, how do I tell this story online without trying to make it seem like I'm trying to be popular? Because I'm definitely not, I'm not doing this channel to get any sort of popularity or fame from it. I do, on some level, without sounding like I have a hero complex, I do enjoy helping people. And, you know, it kind of ties back into my previous career. When I was working as a pharmacist, I knew that, you know, I could walk out to a counter with a little pharmacist jacket on, and, you know, I immediately had somebody's trust. They, you know, it's like they immediately would trust me. And, you know, even with like the simplest of things, I could explain like, okay, you know, you want to do this, and here's why. And I could back up everything I was saying with evidence, and, you know, I could kind of hold my own. And, you know, the majority of the time people would leave that interaction and, you know, I'd feel like I did okay. You know, it was like, I answered their questions. You know, sometimes they'd thank me, sometimes they'd write nice things about me online. And even though that didn't change the amount of money I was making as a pharmacist, I mean, these little gestures kind of meant the world to me. It was like, okay, I felt like I was doing a good job. And I knew when I walked away from pharmacy, I knew that I would never hold that feeling again of, you know, having that useful kind of, you know, like I just helped this person with just, you know, something that a pharmacist should know. I'm not trying to make myself sound any better than I am. I mean, it's like, you know, you go to school for something for 8 years, you should be able to answer basic questions, and I felt I was competent at that. But, you know, that feeling of usefulness, I thought I would never hold again. And these guys stopping to tell me that they like the stuff that I put out on the internet, and that, you know, that it helped them in some way, it just meant the world to me. So, you know, that's why I wanted to share this thing. So, you know, these guys, Steven and Ralph, they agreed to take a picture with me. I'm like, man, I'm for sure gonna add this into a video. It just meant the world to me. But, you know, saying the words, I was recognized from YouTube, are words that I never thought I would say, and I appreciate you guys for doing it, man. It really did mean the world to me. I thought about it for a long time afterwards, and you always remember your first, and always remember you guys. And lastly, this goes out for you Southern California guys, especially if you're spending any time in San Diego. The other day I was in an Amazon yard and I see this guy, he's got his own business working on Amazon equipment. Now I immediately think, you know, man, if Amazon has this high bar for me in order to work for them as a carrier, they must also have that same high bar for any third-party company who does business with them. So I immediately think, you know, like, let's go chat this guy up, get his information, because let's be honest, it's just a matter of time before we are going to need some roadside assistance or have like a breakdown or something like that. And so this guy just seemed like a perfect resource to me. I started chatting him up. You know, he's been in the industry for 13 years, has his own business, super knowledgeable. And the fact that he meets Amazon's, you know, high bar as far as being able to work for them, I feel like that for me was better than any sort of like online review or anything like that I could have read. I'm going to put his information up on the screen and in the description of this video, but if you do need a roadside mechanic in San Diego, Javier Montoya, he's got his own business, authorized to work for Amazon, and, you know, give him a call. Better to know him and not need him rather than need him and not know him. So I'm still sitting here waiting for that first move to come in. Still 0 moves. Been here for about 38 minutes. It's probably gonna get busy here in about the next half hour, hour. So it typically does. Get here at 6. It'll typically pick up between like 7 and 7:30. Get those trailers moved. But a bunch of kind of, you know, little things I wanted to address on this channel tonight. Just a couple shout outs, a couple things, you know, answer a couple questions, that type of stuff. But as always, I hope this video serves you well. I'm gonna get to work here pretty soon. Appreciate you for watching. Take care.